Watching these two as a kid was one of the main reasons our generation grew up to be so sarcastic. The new cell phone for people over 50. How we unfriended people in the 80s. When I was a kid, you didn't have to say, "Don't try this at home," because we weren't complete morons back then. There's a whole lot of Gen X packed all into one photo. Hi, my name is Winnie the Pooh, and welcome to Jackass. Me. Y'all kids today spend too much time on devices. Me, in 1987, spending 3 days trying to make this jump. That was also when you couldn't save a game. I'm gonna roll up to my kids' graduation because I had them at 40. I'm going to tell my kids these are the Avengers. Comparing Tesla's 0 to 60 times to real performance cars is like comparing a microwave to a barbecue grill. It may cook faster, but nobody ever wished for a microwave burger. My back hurts all the time for no reason. How I sat every day. Back when I was a kid, if you had this in your crib, your family was touching some paper. Or more likely, you just had a line of credit that you were in debt to Montgomery Ward or Sears. When you find a throwback pic of you and your friends from back in the 80s. When I was your age, I had to walk 10 feet through shag carpet to change the TV channel. Or you just sat right in front of the TV. If you don't get it, just unfriend me. Cashier checks my ID in half a second. Me. Wow, that was fast. Cashier. Yeah, I saw the 19. Me. I am old. The phrase, "money can't buy happiness," is such a baby boomer concept, like, "I don't want excessive wealth to buy a gold-plated toilet seat, Karen. I just wish I wasn't crying because I can't afford both spaghetti and rent after working 40 hours a week." Me. Open stubborn jar. Kid. Dad, how'd you get so strong? Me. Parents spot fake friends. Children spot fake relatives. It was just brought to my attention that 1970 and 2021 are as far apart as 1970 and 1919. I'm just going to need a minute. It's been a full day since Big Bird nailed Grover's hand to the middle beam, and he still can't stop laughing. Before the internet, keeping ourselves entertained was a lot more dangerous, but it was also a lot more fun. And just think, this photo was taken before digital cameras existed, so they didn't even know what it looked like until they got the film developed. The 90s was kinda... Imagine being stuck in the house with no internet. Yuck. They had to put a commercial on TV that said, "It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are?" For our parents to remember we existed. We were not stuck in the house. Who remembers burning themselves trying to buckle up in the summer? Buckle up, you just accidentally sat down on it when it was in the seat. It's been a long time since I slammed the phone down good and hard. Yeah, pushing a button on a cell phone just isn't the same. Prehistoric Google. So the legend says that the M from MTV originally stood for music. When my boomer father tries to explain to me how the Beatles ruined music. When I tried to explain to my millennial daughter that MTV used to actually play music. I haven't had regular TV in a long time, but from what I've heard, I find it crazy that MTV doesn't air music videos anymore. When you type into Google and predictive text pops up. I hate it when my dog and cat stole my fridge. Those were cartoons. Boomers. Yelling at millennials for toast. Millennials. Yelling at boomers for ruining the world. Gen Z. Snorts Tide Pods and yeets into traffic. Gen X. Baby boomers. Millennials are spoiled and were raised on participation trophies. Millennials. But our baby boomer parents gave us those participation trophies. Baby boomers. You turned logic against me. Gen Xers. 65 to 79. The last great generation before all these sissies were born. The dates there kind of depends on who you ask. The last of the Gen Xers and the beginning of the millennials kind of overlap in the early 80s. Anybody notice who they're missing? And that's why they call it the Forgotten Generation. How we used to take selfies in the 90s. Sadly, there's a lot of people that wouldn't notice the problem with this picture. Rare photo of a remote control from the 1970s. Boomer versus millennials. Gen X just wants to watch the world burn. Just remember, for every boomer that hates a millennial, there's a generation in between that hates both of you. Boomers, millennials, Gen X. Draw a small clock that shows 10 minutes past 11. This is sad, but I've heard and seen that not only most kids, but also teenagers and college students do not know how to read a regular dial-faced clock. They only know digital clocks. That's crazy. The only generation that was 30 years old at 10 and still 30 years old at 50. The best analogy I've heard so far. So true. From about 1983 to 1991, Phil Collins sang like every fourth song on the radio. Boomers. People are too sensitive and need to toughen up. Millennials. People need to care more and help each other out. Gen X. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Back in the day, a McDonald's apple pie was served at close to the surface temperature of the planet Mercury. I'm this old. I can still hear the magnet door closing and opening. Yep, sure can. My high school had a smoking section. Sure, Grandma, let's get you to bed. My high school had a single tree down toward the end of it, and that's where everybody gathered. I don't know how the tree didn't die. Things that 9-year-old me thought are everyday dangers. The Bermuda Triangle, black holes, quicksand, piranhas, and falling anvils. My daughter was wearing a flannel hoodie, so I said, "Hey, the 90s called," and she replied, "Yeah, 'cause they couldn't text." I'm getting really tired of my kids owning me. Now, set it down carefully so you don't break the TV. Then, set it down carefully so you don't break the table. It's Friday night, your pizza's delivered, the breakfast club is ready to rock on your TV, no school tomorrow, and you have permission to stay up late. You're 52 years old and the year is 2023. Who knows what this is? A teachable moment for an overly curious child in a car alone. Just a normal Gen X kid experiencing quality parenting with a 2000-degree Fahrenheit sparkler and a lit cigarette above its head. When you're singing along to Footloose and you have no clue what the lyrics are. Footloose, pet goose, pick the fight with a moose, cheese, stiff breeze, look out there are 10 bees. How we blocked people in the 1980s. Fidget Spinner, 1980s edition. Gen Z, Millennials, and Boomers. Gen X. I hate how your family stops giving you money on your birthday as you get older. Like I need it more now than I did when I was 7, Susan. I'm starving. We failed as a society when we stopped using carpets like these in public spaces. How did people know what roads to take before Google Maps was made? They used maps. What? No, I said before Google Maps. This comment describes Gen Z perfectly. If the apocalypse happened, I would just pass away. Why do people in the movies always have so much will to live? This is sad, but I really think it's true. All you kids with your Fortnites and Black Ops, y'all wouldn't even make it past the Kansas River. That's very true. Clear the ramp, 30 seconds. God be with you. This pretty much sums up what the world thinks of the U.S. military these days. Born too late to own property, born too soon to be a TikTok star. Born just in time to have tried the colored ketchup. This is how we stole memes back in the day. One burned you alive, and the other one electrocuted you with static. And yet, as soon as you got off, you turn around and run right back up. I'm old enough to remember the very first TED Talk. It was most excellent. Notice anything missing? Not only is Gen X missing once again, but it also shows the average of each generation getting dumber than the last. The 3 stages of life. 1. Relating to Ferris. 2. Relating to Cameron. 3. Relating to Rooney. I'm this old. Yep. Gen X Dad Music Taste Starter Pack. Gen Z. You're the Karen generation. Gen X. Whatever. Gen Z. Did you not hear us? Gen X. Light cigarette. Look, man, we didn't spend our whole lives not caring about anything to get worked up over this petty nonsense. So let us know when you get this out of your system. The car has 3 pedals, and I've only got 2 feet. How did manual stick shift transmissions disappear? Not only was it a better transmission, you even got better fuel mileage. The Millennial Work Anthem. Roses are red, work makes you scream. I used to have dreams, now I have memes. When every single generation agrees that Tom and Jerry is cool. Gen Z, Boomers, and Millennials. Once again, Gen X is forgotten, but we also agree. Are you ready for more? You know you can't resist. Hit that subscribe button and click on one of the videos above. Come on, you know you want to. Are you really gonna make me beg? Fine. I'm begging you. Please hit that subscribe button and click on one of the videos above now.